He whispers fear, he wields the sword, but he cannot silence the living word. Every drop of blood becomes a seed, every broken heart cries out a creed. The gates of hell will not prevail, God's truth will stand, it will never fail. From martyrs to saints, their crowns are
Finding the right words to use for this song. I have you in mind, so it won't take so long. Love is not afraid you, but you're here, and so I love you.
Hello, y'all. So, man. Oh, no. No. Sorry, guys. Moon cycle. Moon cycle's not being my friend today. Anyway. Oh, I hate this. It's so uncomfortable, y'all. Okay, hopefully it's done now. I was wondering if you guys wanted to listen to some videos with me again and listen to my commentary, because I don't really have a topic to talk about today, because moon cycle and I have like this migraine, as you guys know, happens when I get the moon cycle. So let's just listen to some videos and I'll make some commentary. I'm watching Matt Walsh right now talking about how women try to tear down their husbands and try to like be better than their husbands. They always compete with them.
Respectable line of work just because it's respectable. It's to pursue greatness on whatever path you choose, right? Whatever path it is, and however you measure greatness, which does not have to have anything to do with money or anything else. That's why I would admire and be impressed by a great ping pong player over a mediocre doctor. And we all feel that way, actually. That's why there's a hit movie right now about a guy pursuing ping pong greatness. There's never going to be a hit movie about a mediocre guy who gets a degree, becomes kind of a middling doctor, not especially great, and then just dies. Nobody wants to watch it. They want to watch Whiplash about a guy who obsessively pursuing greatness in his goal to become the greatest jazz drummer in history. I don't even like jazz. I don't care about drumming. But I want to see that story.
That's amazing.
And if that sounds foreign to you, it's because you are foreign. So that's the first thing. The fetishization of college degrees is very foreign coded. Second, on the subject of college, you guys know my take on it. And if somehow you don't, I'll give it again. I think that there are certain fields that legitimately require a college degree. If you want to be a doctor, if you want to be a lawyer, if you want to be an engineer, something like that, then yeah, you
Yeah.
Now I look at that and say, well, that's something I could never do. I can't wrap my mind around that. The degree helped you get to that point, but the thing that's impressive, the thing that is the achievement, is the doing part.
Yeah.
I went and did this thing. That's the impressive thing. And outside of these relatively limited number of fields, a college degree has always been a waste of time and money, and is now more than ever. This is where the world is going. The point of college is moving more in my direction and away from people like Satan.
Oh no, another ad. I hate these ads, man. I can't even tell you. They're so annoying. Like, why do they have to pop up in the middle of me listening to something
You need
interesting?
to figure out what you're good at, what you're passionate about, what your vocation is, and then that is what God wants you to do with your life.
Yes,
And then develop the skills to succeed in that space.
exactly.
In many cases, leaving aside professions where the degree is obvious and necessary. In many cases, going to college will not only not help you figure out your vocation and then develop the skills necessary to pursue it, but it will interfere with that process,
I agree.
or at best delay it. So, take the industry that me and Saeed are in, media. The only thing that matters in this world, only thing, is whether you can create content that people find compelling. That's it. That's what separates
That's
success.
unfortunate, though. That's very unfortunate, but he's literally telling the truth, though. Like, if you can't produce content that everybody is like eating up and devouring, then you're basically useless. You won't make anything of yourself in this world now, because it's all about,
Let me check his resume. All right, let me go to
you know,
LinkedIn and see what
performance
the same
and
way in many
optics,
The
and
question is whether you can do the thing.
it's kind of sad.
And if you can, no one questions it. Nobody questions
You
it.
know, it's kind of sad that that's how we are now, but
Doesn't matter
what can you say when it's the age of technology and the internet, and everybody's literally only making money off the internet?
There's one argument that gives me pause, and that makes me kind of slow my roll a bit in my anti-college jihad, only briefly. And that's when someone says, well, yeah, you don't need college most of the time. Yeah, most degrees will never be used. Like, most of the degrees these people get, you're never going to use it in any way. Yeah, all that's true, but education is valuable for its own sake.
Yeah.
And this thing where you have to use a degree in order for it to be worthwhile is kind of materialistic and shallow.
Yeah,
Because education is good for the soul. It makes you a better person.
exactly. That's why I read a lot.
For its own sake.
Okay, so here's the thing, guys.
You know,
If you don't understand that it's important to constantly read, and not just like a Kindle. I'm not talking about a Kindle, which is pretty, like I see the practical use of such a thing, and one day I will have one. However, I feel there is more value in holding a book, reading from a book, looking at the words and feeling the pages and flipping through it. You know what I mean? There's like a smell that comes from the book. There's a whole entire thing that happens. And it's not just the reading part. There's a whole lot of other things going on. These are different areas where you're giving education to yourself. I know you guys don't know that, but when you experience smell, touch, hearing or seeing, or like all of your senses are teaching you something. You're learning from whatever senses that you're using. I know you guys don't know that, but your brain is inputting all that data all the time. Why do you think you can recognize smells? Why do you think you can recognize symbols and like shapes and things? Even something that you felt before. You know a feeling that you've had before, like, oh, I felt this on a dress once. This is velvet. Or this is satin. This is the softest thing I've ever felt. Or cashmere. You know what I mean? Your brain is learning. And while I do see that there is some value in certain academics that you can go and pursue, the majority of them you will never be able to use in this life. Like, there's no use for it. There's no point in it. Something that would be valuable to someone and that they could use after college, like he said, was a doctor degree or a lawyer license, or a lot of trade stuff that you need to go into school for. Those are great ones, by the way. Like tradesmen, that would be that'd be perfect. Like, or even like becoming a mechanic. They always need mechanics. And it pays really good. Like, you'd be surprised. And also, like, I wouldn't do anything with business, honestly, because it's such a fleeting industry, and it's always ever evolving and ever changing. So even if you learned one thing, it would be obsolete like in 5 years. So what's the point, right? So I wouldn't even like. But he's absolutely right on this topic, that there are some academics that is useful that you can go to college and university for, and then there's very useless ones that will never be used in your lifetime, and there is no point. So he's absolutely correct on that, and you have to literally search within yourself and find out what God is calling you to in a vocation, and then pursue that. You know what I mean? And he's absolutely right that nowadays most people will never make as much money as those who are creating content that people are devouring online. Why do you think everybody's has a podcast and doing shows and things? Because that's the only tangible way of making money now. And it's unfortunate that you have to perform and be inauthentic and like you're basically turning yourself into an actor just so that you can make a little bit of money online. You know what I mean? And some people are making lots of money online, but they do it in the wrong way. And that's the kind of thing that is deterring me from selling out, you know? So I just do my own thing. I'm authentic. I'm raw. I'm real. I don't try to perform or be something I'm not. I'm me. Love me or hate me, this is what you get. That's all I gotta say. Not me? Not me. Okay, let's continue.
I think that's true, and I agree with that. The problem is that, to begin with, the education offered in many institutions is bad.
Yeah.
It's just false. But even if it's not, there's plenty of institutions that provide a good education. Even if it's a good education, well, here's the thing. It's all backwards.
Yeah.
Unless you're a trust fund kid and you're set for life, and okay, fine. But if you're not, you can't afford to spend
Exactly.
thousands of dollars and 4 years of your life,
Yeah.
the front end of adulthood,
Yeah.
just learning for the sake of learning.
Yeah.
You can't afford to take a 4-year sabbatical at the age of 18 and go into 3 decades worth of debt to just learn stuff for the sake of personal enrichment.
Right.
I mean,
You could do that.
what kind of plan is that?
You can do that for free online.
Hey kid, you have no money, no job, no prospects, no idea what you want to do.
You can do that for free online, y'all.
You put your whole life on hold for 4 years, assuming a staggering amount of debt, all to aimlessly acquire an education about nothing in particular for no specific purpose.
Right.
That is a crazy approach.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. And another ad, because they can't just leave me alone. They gotta give me an ad every 5 seconds. Like, come on, brah.
And it's also not achieving, like, is it actually achieving the goal of leaving aside jobs and all the rest of it? Is it achieving the goal of creating, like, generations of Americans who are really well-read, educated?
You can read online. You can buy books off of Amazon. You can do those learning things that you want to do while you're working and trying to gain a career or doing something with your life. You don't need to go to college and learn a whole bunch of stuff that you're never going to use in the real world and then be like, oh, I'm in debt for 30 years And what am I going to do now? Like, he's absolutely right. You don't have to do that to yourself. You can do that on your spare time. You know, you can, that's what I do. I learn about everything that I want to learn about on my spare time when I'm not like doing, you know, my vlogging or my podcasting or uh, homemaking and homeschooling. I'm learning because that's what I like to do with my time. I don't like to just be idle. I do something.
To go and get more formal education just for the sake of it, just for personal enrichment, you can do that at that point. In fact, this will shock you to hear, but I may go to college eventually. Like, not actually go. Like, I'm not going to go attend. That would be fun. That would actually be very fun for me to go on campus and just become a college student.
No, that would be dangerous, Matt. That would be really dangerous. He's saying he's going to go to college and be on campus. He said that'd be really fun. Yeah, no, it would be dangerous. You'd be like Riley Gaines held up in a gymnasium with like a whole bunch of like police officers trying to protect you. That would not be good.
But just to have it. I don't know, like just to have the education, just to learn. And, you know, in my spare time, I'll watch lectures all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Since I'm a blind person,
See?
so I'll sit and watch a lecture.
See?
I had this thought the other day. I'm watching on some history subject. And I'm thinking,
Okay, so here's the thing. They have actual free lectures online if you didn't know at hillsdalecollege.com. So hillsdalecollege.com, and they're not paying me. Don't even think that this isn't a sponsorship or anything. I literally just really like this website because I signed up for free, and I also am learning history from them. It's free. You can learn about the colonization of America, all this kind of stuff, the true history of North America. You can learn it on hillsdalecollege.com for free. And that's what I do. I listen to lectures, I listen to sermons, I listen to this and that. I also read a lot because I like to learn. Y'all, it's not that difficult. Like, if you want to go and do something, if you want to know something about something, go and look it up. You don't have to go to school, spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on a student loan and then frickin' be in debt for the rest of your life. Like, come on. Does that sound like logical to you? Does that sound sensible to you? It doesn't sound it doesn't make any sense in my brain. Once upon a time I did that because I was dumb. Okay? When I was a 20-year-old girl. I decided to go back to school. Because I had dropped out at 17. Yep. Dropped out at 17. Then I decided I'm going to go back. So I went back to get my GED. Now I was working towards that when I hit about 22, 23 years old. And then I started going to CDI College, which isn't exactly a college. It's just like an institutional place where you go and you hear lectures on a certain whatever you're taking. I was trying to become a community service worker, which could have given me the path into addictions counseling or social work, which was something I was interested in at the time. Anyway, the long and short of it is I was in debt for tens of thousands of dollars. Okay? And I had only gone for 7 months. 7 months because I lost my bus pass and then I got pregnant. And I could no longer go. And so, yeah, I only had one exam left. One. I would have been licensed. I would have done my practicum. I would have did shadow work. Shadow, what is it called? Shadow. I don't know what it's called, but you're like a shadow. You're learning from someone else on site or on wherever you are, and you're learning from them how to do things, and then eventually you get hired. That's what it is. It's like paid training, basically. Anyway. But yeah. That's the truth, y'all. And I had all those books. They were really good books. A lot of liberal stuff, but some of them was pretty good. Some of them. Anyway, I just want to say something. But yeah, so let's get back to this. He's absolutely right. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars just to go to all these universities or colleges to learn anything. If you want to learn something that you can't turn into a career, go on to websites and find this stuff like hillsdalecollege.com. They have a lot of free courses on there, like a lot. And it's fun. Like, it's not even like boring. It's fun. And just an idea, y'all. Just an idea.
Like if I have enough credits here that I could just have a degree. I don't know. And so I've had that thought. But that's what you do that's the kind of thing you do when you have the luxury to do it. And at that point, it's fine. You're not taking on enormous amount of debt when you have a net worth of zero already.
Yeah.
Just to learn stuff for 4 years does not make any sense.
No, it does not.
And also, if you want to be smart and well-rounded and a well-read person, which you should want all those things.
Yeah.
You have to learn every day, whether you're in college or not.
Yeah. Exactly what I'm saying.
Right? I mean, if you could go to college. You could do 4 years. You could do a master's. You could do the whole thing. And if you then graduate and you don't continue to pursue knowledge and on your own, then not only will the degree be practically worthless, which it probably already is, but even the knowledge you acquire is now worthless too, because you're going to lose it because you didn't continue to pursue education and knowledge, which most of these college graduates, they don't do that.
Exactly.
So keep learning, but also do. That's the key.
Yeah.
And we'll leave it there for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Talk to you tomorrow. Have a great day.
Oh man, do we have to listen to these stupid ads again? Like, come on, bro. We don't want to hear it.
What was it like, Merlin, to be alone with God? Is that who you think I was alone with?
Merlin, I knew your father. I am yet convinced that he was not of this world.
All men know of the great Taliesin.
You are my father, and the gods should war for my soul.
Princess Garrus, savior of our people.
I know what the bull god offered you. I was offered the same.
And?
There is a new power at work in the world. I've seen it. A god who sacrifices what he loves for us.
We are each given only one life, Singer.
No. And we're given another. I learned of Yezu the Christ.
And all you have become his follower.
He's waiting on a miracle, and I think you can give him one.
Trust in Yezu. He is the only hope for men like us.
Fate of Britain never rests in the hands of the great light.
Great light, great darkness. Such things mattered to me then.
What matters to you now, mistress of lies?
You, nephew. The sword of the High King. How many lives must be lost before you accept the power you were born to wield? So clinging to the promises of a god who has abandoned you.
I cannot take up that sword again.
You know what you must
Don Lemon has found himself in a lot of hot water. I know he's been doing for a while, but they've now decided that there is nothing left that is holy. Nothing. That they're allowed to do whatever the heck they want if they believe that it's for a good cause. And I mean, they have now disrupted a church session as it's going on Sunday, a ceremony with their crazy protests, and Don Lemon has joined, and there is a lot of controversy about it. Let's watch for a second what actually happened.
Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are your people? Why are you not at Whipple every day fighting for the humanity, standing for our people? Where are you? You drink your coffee, you got your jewelry, you have your nice clothes, but what do you do? What do you do to stand for your Somali and Latino communities? You have no comment, exactly.
Oh my god. I can't even believe these people. They're like insane.
So let's just set the context for this. You're going to church on Sunday as a good Christian. You're sitting there in your community, okay? Your community has been overwhelmed with fraud and Somalian stuff and everything that's going on with ICE. And there's a lot of controversy around Minnesota, which we're all familiar with. We've seen it on the news. Okay, you're sitting in your church and you're trying to talk to your God and listen to your pastor who's giving a sermon as a good, normal citizen. And then what happens? A group of protesters come in and say, how dare you wear your jewelry? How dare you dress so nicely? Why don't you care about our Somalian brothers? The brothers that are actually pirates who have been stealing all of your taxpayer money. Let's put that into clarity. And they're coming in and screaming and disrupting a ceremony, a religious ceremony, saying, say Renee Good, say your name. Now, who decided to join this? Don Lemon, who's a total imbecile for
Oh god.
All these comfortable white people who are living lavish, comfortable lives while children are dragged into concentration camps. You're living real life, nice lives with your lattes, doing absolutely nothing for your Latino and Somali brothers and sisters. You come here to a man wearing a suit, is a preacher. Did Jesus wear a suit? Did Jesus profit off the words? No. Jesus would die with immigrants. You do not touch me. Touch me again and see what happens. You are a fake Christian. Why are you not standing with your Somali and Latino communities? Why do I not see you out at Whipple every day protesting this attack on humanity? Where are you? You're sinners. You're pretending to be Christians. But we know you live an easy life, don't you? A very easy life while people are starving. Shame. Out now. Out now. Living real comfortable while the people starve. Living real comfortable while children are dragged into concentration camps. You're all living real comfortable, aren't you? Shame on you. Do something. Stand with the Somalis. Stand with the Latinos. Quit ignoring this injustice. He wears a suit and tie and he hangs out with Christy Nome. How is that a Christian? You're supposed to accept all immigrants, are you not?
What?
Why are you not going down to Whipple?
No, actually, if you're interested, just from a historical perspective, Christians were not very happy to accept Islamization that came in and behead them. There was actually big fights between the two. Whatever, you should look into this. But that guy really pisses me off. And one second, we'll get to Don Lennon in a second because I know we didn't see him in that footage. I'm getting to it. But that guy annoys me because he's coming in and he's obviously white and he thinks that it's okay that because he's bothered by something that he should be bothering other people because they don't suffer, they have easy lives, they drink lattes. And this is
Oh
part
my
of this
god.
crazy illusion that has been created, that the media has kind of made it out to be that if you're white and if you're Christian, then your life's perfect and you have no problems. But more than that, why does this need to be a problems competition? You've got Somalians who are illegal, you've got Latinos who are illegal. Some of them are legal, there's no problem with them, but the ones who are illegal coming in and taking over your society and stealing your resources, and these people care more about them than they care about their citizens because they've been trained to believe that it's about whoever's in more pain. And they're saying stupid things like these children are in concentration camps. But that's actually not the point of this video, the fact that these people are just idiots and on the wrong side of the argument. It's the fact that they believe that they are so legit that they can get up and disrupt a religious ceremony because they think it's not aligned with their values. And that is just unacceptable and should make you really mad. I don't believe ever that you should go in during a holy time, during a time of religious connection into a sanctuary that's supposed to provide a safe space safe space being, you know, like a physical, actual space for people to connect to their God. What the heck is this? And this is where Don Lemon gets involved because
Because, you know, of course not. Why not, you know? Like,
Shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship.
But there are folks who will
That's what, I have to take care of my flock and my
But listen,
family.
we live in there's a constitution and a First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
not in a church.
We're here to worship Jesus because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world is Jesus Christ.
I want to be very respectful. Please don't push me though.
We're here to worship Jesus. That's why we're here. Okay? That's why we're here. That's what we're about.
Don't you think Jesus would be understanding and
We're about
love these folks?
We're about spreading the love of Jesus.
But did you try to talk to them as a
No
Christian?
one is willing to talk.
Okay.
I have to take care of my church and my family, so I asked that you actually would also leave this building.
You don't want us to
Unless you're here to worship. Unless you're here to worship.
I'm always worship. I'm a Christian.
We're here to. Well, we're
You're not a Christian, Dawn.
Thank you very much.
I just don't understand that as a Christian why you would think it's okay under freedom of speech and freedom of what's the word, collection or whatever, when people are allowed to
Assemble.
get together and protest against things. Why you would say that you're a Christian and believe that this is okay to go in and disrupt other people during their time of worship?
Exactly.
And to come in with all your arguments. Look, Don Lemon's whole thing is like, no, I don't understand. I went in as a journalist to cover it, but it's pretty simple. There's a protest going on to disrupt people during their time of worship. That is unacceptable for political reasons. Political reasons that we know that Don can really get behind. Like, for example, watch this clip.
Okay, crossing the border illegally is not a crime?
No, it's not a criminal act. It's a
Okay.
misdemeanor.
So why are they being sent back and saying that they're breaking the law?
That's the point.
Okay, as somebody that
We don't know if they're breaking the law because they won't tell. There's no due process. Where's the evidence? That's the whole point. And if they are breaking the law, most people will say, okay, then they need to go if they're criminals. But if they're not, why are they being rounded up and sent
You
out?
see how he supports the whole immigration thing and blah, 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 and hates Trump and all those things. He's like one of these crazy lefties. But people are not appreciating this. Don't pretend to be a Christian and to be like, yeah, under freedom of speech, it's okay to go in and disrupt an event like this. It's not. It's absolutely not okay. And here's Don Lemon's response.
There's a certain degree of entitlement. I think people who are, in the religious groups like that, it's not the type of Christianity that I practice, but I think that they're entitled, and that entitlement comes from a supremacy, a white supremacy. And they think that this country was built for them, that it is a Christian country, when actually we left England because we wanted religious freedom. It's religious freedom, but only if you're a Christian and only if you're a white male, pretty much. And so, yeah, I absolutely 100%.
Stupid.
But it's an intimidation tactic. And, I said, I don't understand how I've become the face of it when I was a journalist. I do understand that I'm the biggest name there. And I'm also, as I was on with my producers this morning, you and Kylie talk all the time, my producers were saying, I said, how did I become the face of this? And my producer said, Don, you're a gay black man in America.
Oh my God. Because everything is about race and sexual orientation, of course.
They're interviewing him, but also that he pulls the victim card, because this is exactly what they do. They pull the victim card. Like, oh, I'm a gay black man. That's why they all hate me. Instead
Oh
of being
my
like, excuse me,
God.
look at
Maybe
your
because
victim
you're
person and see if you think
obnoxious,
it's okay to disrupt something.
arrogant, and narcissistic.
Care about all of these immigrants? No, it's not. It's not. It's because you play this victim game, and you believe that the most unvictim person justifies any sort of behavior in which you are allowed to be horrible to other people.
Yeah.
That's what you believe. That's the basis and the premises of everything. And I've had enough of this mentality. The reason we're covering this video is because this is exactly it. They will justify the most unacceptable behaviors because they believe that they can get away with it. And they can't. And they shouldn't. And Don Lemon should get in trouble for this and should have to suffer the consequences. Even if he joined as a journalist just to cover it. Look, I don't think that if you're a journalist covering a terrible event, that's a decision that you're going to be making. You've decided to say, this is something that I want to showcase, right? This is not you're not walking by as an innocent bystander and filming. You're taking part and you're interviewing the pastor and you're pushing against him, meaning you ideologically agree with this. So don't pretend and back out and be like, oh, I was just a bystander. You are not. You were part. You were enjoying this. You believed in this. You support this. And that's why you gave it a platform. And Don Lemon, you're going to have to pay the price for that. Sorry. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Amen.
So the World Economic Forum is commencing, and there is drama from Trump's plane malfunctioning to him calling out the Islamization of Europe, and obviously all the Greenland thing that's going on that we have to do an entire episode in and of itself. There was like a gas leak that made some people cough, and all in all, it's been very dramatic. But today, we're going to be talking about what I think is the most important thing that came up, which is Islamization of Europe and how Europe is completely and totally falling apart. And Trump finally spoke about this in a public way. And when I say I believe that the UK needs to find itself a Trump, I really mean it. It's about time the UK gets its act together. And I know there's a lot of drama there politically, but just in general, the fact that Trump is now properly talking about the Islamization, everything that's going on, is so exciting. And at the World Economic Forum, which is like the most lefty place in the world, and probably everybody there absolutely hates him, but we know that Trump's using his tariff power to reshape America's economy and to get Europe to do things that he wants them to do, i.e. the whole Greenland situation. So I'm wondering if maybe there is hope for Europe because Trump understands that he needs to do something in this area. Anyways, as of today, guys, we are now here at the pushback at, let me just check for the first time this morning, 103,000 followers. Oh, I love you. We are going to reach 200,000 in the next 2 months, I think, and we're going to reach 1 million this year. I have high plans, and I'm so grateful to everybody who is here and part of the pushback. You will know how much this means to me. You can check out our video in which we celebrated 100K. Some of you have asked that I do a husband reveal and talk a little bit about myself. Let me know in the comments if you're interested to know more about me. But first, let's watch Trump.
Certain places in Europe are not even recognizable, frankly, anymore. They're not recognizable. And we can argue about it, but there's no argument. Friends come back from different places. I don't want to insult anybody and say I don't recognize it. And that's not in a positive way. That's in a very negative way. And I love Europe, and I want to see Europe go good, but it's not heading in the right direction.
President Trump is 100% correct. I am an American who recently spent 3 years living in Europe, and it is not recognizable anymore. Even in the 3 years that I was there, it changed so much. Did you?
By the way, this is Avery Day, okay? She is an amazing content creator who I've come to recently find and really, really appreciate. She calls out all the things that we're talking about, and I love that.
Know that in Brussels, only 10% of children and adolescents aged 0 to 17 are of Belgian origin. That means that 89.44% have some foreign background, with 73% of those having a non-EU background.
I like her shirt.
That's not good. That's not good. That's like me saying those numbers, but for Americans. Like, these people are not Americans. They're specifically from somewhere else. And remember, America prides itself on diversity and immigration and all of these things. Legal immigration, of course. But Europe doesn't.
What part of the world did they come from? Sub-Saharan Africa. Many Muslim majority countries. And most students, children, were enrolled in Islamic religion courses. Did you know that British residents are a minority in London? And 10 boroughs have a majority non-white population.
Minority in London. Minority in London. What the heck are we talking about?
Mohammed is the #1 baby name in England. Did you know that Sweden has 65 no-go zones? Areas that have been taken over by migrants and are extremely dangerous. There's actually an estimated 900 uncontrolled areas across Europe. What Europe has done is they've opened their borders to military-aged men from Muslim-majority countries who have come in a net drain on society, have raped women and children, and they're paying for their stay. They are selling out the safety of women and children. They're selling out their freedoms out of fear of being called Islamophobic. Well, that's the disguise they're hiding behind. That's what they're trying to manipulate people into believing. But it's for temporary power. It has nothing to do with DEI. It's really sad. All my friends in Europe they're heartbroken by it. They're all looking to leave because they know it's not going to be safe for their kids anymore.
Yeah, no shit.
There's a reason that America is now potentially offering asylum to UK citizens who want to escape their Islamic country. I mean, isn't that insane? And before you come at me and
What
say,
about
okay, how do I trust this Avery
Canadians?
girl and her statistics?
Can
I wanna
you
remind
offer
you that
asylum
these
to
people who are
Canadians that
coming in
want to
and taking
escape
over are
China
actually
taking
not
over
hiding it.
Canada?
Here's the clip.
Possibly?
Continue and take over not just parts of Birmingham, but the whole of Birmingham, the whole of the West Midlands, the whole of the UK. Grassroots democracy in action. And we, our communities, have shown the establishment and the rest of the country that we will not be taken for granted and we will win. The establishment know that if you let one person stand up to them and speak the truth to people about what power is doing to them, then more people, when we all stand up against oppression, against injustice, and against corruption in politics, you see the power of solidarity. You see the power of solidarity, the power of all of us together. Individually, we may feel helpless, lonely, often frightened. Together, nothing can stop us. No tyrant can rule us. No party, government, or dictator can demand from us subservience. Together, we are powerful. Remember that and take that message onto the streets of Birmingham and share it with everyone.
Oh, come on. Why?
You know what really annoys me about that video? Two things. Number one, did you notice the UK flag in the background? That's not a UK message. But number two, did you notice the security guard who looks like he's part of the police force defending this dude who's actually legitimately saying that he wants to come and take over? Reason Europe is falling apart is because they are allowing people in who say we want to make Europe fall apart. Not so complicated, and I don't understand why this isn't something that everybody is clocking. Everybody should get this. And this is why it was so important that Trump actually brought this up and spoke about it. Because Europe is becoming not just a laughing stock, but a dangerous place for normal people to live because of sub-Saharan men who are coming in with the goal and intent of dominating with Islamization. It's just very simple. There is nothing complicated about this, but it doesn't get enough attention and it's not talked about. And that's why I was so happy to see Trump bring it up. Look, if Trump's going to do some tariff complication things and put Europe in a kind of tight spot economically so that maybe they save themselves, I'm all for it. The UK, Spain, Germany, all of these countries, Belgium, need to get their act together. Sweden, Norway, they're not understanding that everybody can look at them and see that this isn't just like a niche small problem. This is now enormous. Their countries have been taken over completely. Their culture is being lost. Their societies are being lost. Their people are actually in danger, not just figuratively or theoretically, physically in danger of a religion that believes in beheadings and mass takeovers and doing everything to get it what they want. Infidels are justifiable killings in this religion, and therefore Europe needs to figure this out. And I am so happy that it's now being spoken about in a proper public way. Thank you for your attention to this matter. It happened. Dave Rubin went after Candace Owens, and I know you guys have begged me to not play her anymore so you don't have to listen to her voice or see her maniacal eyes, and don't worry, we're not doing that. We're actually just going to read the tweets that happened yesterday. A tweet war between Candace and Dave, in which Dave finally calls Candace out. Now, here's a fun fact about me that you may not know. I've actually opened for Dave here in Jerusalem. I did a terrible job, but I did it, and I see it as an absolute honor to call Dave one of my close friends, okay? I know Dave for quite a long time. I've met him multiple times since he's come to Israel, and he is one of the most trustworthy and honest people I've ever met. He is so kind, so real, has so much integrity, and when I say that I trust every single word of his, I trust it implicitly. Is that the right word? I don't know if that's the right word. But Dave is an exceptional human being. And he has debated, I think, for a while coming after Candace, thinking to himself he doesn't want to make this worse. But finally he decides to just, enough's enough. Now, I don't know if you guys know, but Candace has started receiving the legal letters from Turning Point USA, the cease and desist
Amen.
letters,
Finally.
telling her that, you know, it's time to kind of stop making up all these allegations, and she's freaking out about it. So now she's pivoting to talking about stupid stories, which we covered on here, like the Brooklyn Beckham situation. She's just freaking out, and she holds back nothing when coming after Dave for these tweets. So shout out to Dave for being very courageous and putting an old friendship on the line. I mean, it's a friendship that's kind of died out, but still, I know that Dave and Candace had a friendship back in the day, and this can't be easy to be living in a reality in which you're fighting. So let's read out Dave's tweet. I haven't said it publicly before, but it's finally worth mentioning. The last time I saw Candace, by the way, here's proof that I'm actually reading it, okay? The last time I saw Candace at my house in 2022, all she talked about for an hour was how much she hated Charlie. Oh, the drama. I remember it vividly because the other two people she was ranting against that night were Ivanka and Jared, whom she had just met and had dinner with a few days before, and who couldn't have been kinder, more decent people. That, I've heard, is true. Yes, this is 100% true. And when she claims that it didn't happen or it's a Zionist lie, ask her if she enjoyed the chicken parmesan. Okay? And then Dave provides, can you see? You won't be able to see it properly. Do you see that picture? Dave provides a picture from 2020 cast iron chicken parm recipe, which we made every time she came over as per her request. And as long as we're doing this, here we are at Pete Thiel's house in LA. Strangely, she never mentioned to me that he was a human cyborg. Okay, now here's the picture. Can you guys see? It's not very good lighting, but maybe, yeah, you can see that's Dave and Candace, right? You can see. Okay, so that's Dave. And Candace obviously responds like a total motard. Okay, here it is. You guys ready? Because, surprise, surprise, she's gonna kind of pull out of the hat something terrible and disgusting with no evidence and no proof that she now remembers to bring out. Something that if she felt so strongly about, maybe she could have spoken about a few months ago or a year ago. Okay, a response. This is completely and utterly made up lol, LOL capitalized. Sheer fiction. You guys are so positively desperate to rewrite Charlie's history that we are moving to fantasy. Here's the secret trick my groomer uses to make
Dear God, I hate when they just jump up like that. Come on.
Candace says something. She's actually talking about herself. But since the internet is now interested, if it's cool, I'd like to now share the story about why I decided to stop being friends with you after you bizarrely opened up to me about how you hired a young Christian male who used to work on my show at PragerU. You told me his parents were overbearing Christians who were concerned about him moving to Miami to work for a gay couple. Sure enough, the next time we saw you, you told us a story about how you and your husband just knew that he wasn't shy and that he was more likely secretly gay, and how you were encouraging him to experiment with guys and explore his sex life. You told me and George that you then encouraged him to go on a date and then to have his first kiss with a man. Shortly thereafter, he quit your show and moved from Miami. I was positively sickened by this story because I knew this kid, and yes, he was shy. And the fact that you questioned him about his virginity and dating life and encouraged him to kiss a boy makes you a groomer in my book. Did you know that Dave Rubin is a groomer? A terrible, terrible groomer. Something that Candace obviously didn't share with the public of the last few years out of her fear for all the young Christian males that Dave is grooming, but rather now remembers when she has to make an attack after Dave tells the truth about her. Should we get into what you told me about your night in Hawaii with Peter Thiel? Or is this above enough perversion for one morning? Okay? Dave Rubin is literally the person that initially freaked me out tweeting, genocide is all wrong. Okay? And now, she also then says, it's also difficult to put into words how sick it is to create a video of a dead person to create the illusion that he's speaking about one of his friends. You are utterly deranged for this. And since I said I wouldn't be showing more of Candace because I can't be bothered to show more of Candace, then I will not be showing that video. But there's this very great video that Canary Mission has put together in which they show kind of Charlie's statements versus Candace's statements. It's very entertaining. There's ample evidence out there online just proving Candace at every stage. And Dave responds very perfectly to that whole thing with an image of a mirror. Because if there's somebody out there who's been using Charlie's death, I think we all know who it is. Anyway, why are we talking about this? Well, besides the fact that I'm so happy that Dave's finally come out, after Candace, because it's about time that somebody who knew Candace well puts her in her place and actually does so. And I know for a fact that they knew each other well. I think we're now moving into a time in which people have realized that Candace is just pulling every single punch that she can and making things up out of thin air, which when she makes this stuff up, she'll have some slither of evidence that she can provide so that it doesn't sound completely fabricated. But at the end of the day, Candace is just pathetic. She's pathetic, and she's now being sued by Turning Point USA, and she still has the Brigitte Macron case that she has to deal with, and she's out there just pulling hairs from every direction. And I'm proud. I'm proud to call Dave a friend and to call somebody who's logical and nice and kind. And I'm here to say that I actually know the guy that Candace is talking about, and this is not really a story. It's not the story at all, but it's amazing how Candace suddenly manages to fabricate these unbelievable stories in which she turns the person that she's against them into somebody so evil, a groomer. How can we get Dave Rubin, who's nice, who's kind, who's generous, who everybody who's ever met has nothing negative to say about? How can you take Dave Rubin and make him into a terrible person? Oh, by making him sound like he's a predator, by convincing the world that he's grooming young men, which is so far from the reality. It's unbelievable. It's just unbelievable how she comes up with this. And this is just more proof for me, as somebody who knows Dave and has known Dave for a long time, about how quick she is to just lie to defend herself. And honestly, I'm so happy that her downfall has arrived. You know, we made videos about this about 6 months ago. I think one of my first big videos was me calling Candace out, saying like, hi Candace, I'm an Israeli personality, and I just want to say you're on the wrong side of history. Like, if you don't stand with the Jews, your downfall is coming. Dave Rubin happens to be Jewish, but the truth is kind of simple. This is an evil, maniacal character, Candace Owens, who for some reason has decided to make her entire career about trying to destroy other people's reputations. And I won't have it. It's proper bullying. It's actual bullying. And it's not that I'm coming out of left field and saying, yeah, she's a bully. No, we've got evidence of this time and time and time again. This woman is evil, she's nasty, and now she's picking fights with her old friend. Again, granted, Dave said it first, but Dave is completely correct to be finally interjecting into this conversation and saying what really went down. Because if you still have even a tiny bit of shred of doubt in your head, if this whole Candace thing is real or if it's not, or maybe she actually is a good person, enough is enough. We now have everything. We have ample evidence from her. We have ample evidence from all of the people around her. And we even have the likes of Dave Rubin, who were friends with her, good friends with her, calling her out. And that's it. We can just kind of accept that this person is no longer somebody that should be seen as a normative person in society, should be seen as a political contributor, as somebody whose opinions and stories we should be listening to. She is nothing but a grifter and a narcissist and somebody who wants attention. And I keep giving it to her, which is a problem because I can't stop talking about it because I'm so enjoying her downfall. And I hope you're enjoying it too. So, without watching her, we're still able to see that this woman's not stopping, but eventually it's gonna die out. It just can't help itself. The show is tanking and it will continue to tank because honestly, people have had enough of the total and complete fibs. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
I'm just saying, like, the Candace Owens stuff has literally just really, like,
This episode is brought to you by Good Ranchers.
caused me so much, like, spiritual exhaustion.
$25 off your first order of 100% American meat, the kind that I had last night for dinner, delivered right to your door. A busy 24 hours for President Trump in Davos as he announces a framework for taking Greenland, establishes a new international body that could replace the UN, and does his very best Asian accent after meeting Mr. Toyota. Outside of Davos, the UK's National Health Service says that cousin marriage can actually be a good thing. And Fernando Mendoza gets even me to care about football. I'm Michael Knowles. This is the Michael Knowles Show.
Oh my god. This guy, he's hilarious. He's Catholic and he's so funny. Like, it's entertaining.
Welcome back to the show. President Trump stole the show at Davos. We'll get to the highlights. There are actually too many clips to get to all of them, but we'll get to the highlights, what it means for America and for the world order. However, there was a foil at Davos, a very weak, kind of villainous, foolish-looking foil, and that would be Gavin Newsom, who decided to spend his time babbling about sex fantasies regarding Trump with the Europeans at WEF. We will get to all of it first, though. Let me tell you about Good Ranchers.
Oh, here we go again. What?
Use code Knowles, KNWLA, credit. So I go, I get my nice, delicious ribeye. Give me some stick, and I don't think WLES. So heading into Davos, this is the World Economic Forum. It's all the liberal globalists from all around the world, especially run by Europeans. It's in Switzerland, and the big topic is that awful, terrible Trump wants to take Greenland, and Europe says no. And the French say they're going to send an army to defend Greenland. Obviously, I've got the flag of the French army right here. And Denmark says we're going to double the security. We're going to add another dog sled. And this is supposed to be the big fight. Trump, you are not getting Greenland. This is a threat to NATO. You're threatening a NATO country, Denmark, which for some reason controls Greenland. And then the NATO General Secretary had this to say about Trump's proposal.
So statements from me will not add anything here. And when it comes to the Arctic, I think President Trump is right. Other leaders in NATO are right. We need to defend the Arctic. We know that the sea lanes are opening up. We know that China and Russia are increasingly active in the Arctic. There are 8 countries bordering on the Arctic. 7 are a member of NATO. That's Finland and Sweden and Norway and Denmark, Iceland, Canada and the US. And there's only 1 country bordering on the Arctic outside NATO, and that's Russia. And I would argue there is a 9th country, which is China, which is increasingly active in the Arctic region. So President Trump and other leaders are right. We have to do more there. We have to protect the Arctic against Russian and Chinese influence. And that's exactly what NATO ambassadors decided to do in September. We are working on that, making sure that collectively will we defend the Arctic region.
So much for a threat to NATO. That was the story. That was the story being published in the liberal media. Trump's insistence that the U.S. control Greenland is a threat to NATO. It will destroy NATO because it's a direct threat from one NATO country, actually the leader of NATO, America, on another one, Denmark. Then you have the NATO Secretary General, or General Secretary rather, saying, yeah, actually, we need to defend Greenland from Russia. You got all these NATO countries. There's just one who's not in NATO, but also Trump's even right about China aggressing in the Arctic. So what? What does that mean? Are we splitting off from Europe, or are we continuing to lead the West? Well, it depends not only who you ask, but when you ask the person. The Finnish president, in the span of just 11 minutes, managed to completely flip-flop on the question of whether or not Europe can defend itself without America.
First is a direct answer to the question of this panel. Can Europe defend itself? My answer is unequivocally yes.
Without the Americans?
Without the Americans, I mean...
How?
Well, look...
But you're relying on them for these key elements. You said earlier that Europe can defend itself without the Americans. If it comes down...
not exact. That's not a quote.
More or less. More or less. We'll go back to the transcript. Yeah. More or less. More or less.
I love journalists.
But if it...
What do you mean not exactly? That's exactly what you said. That is exactly what you said 11 minutes earlier. And the way he's trying to weasel out of it, you even see this in the community notes on social media. They'll say, well, no, he said Europe can defend itself, but he wasn't totally explicit on whether Europe can defend itself without America. Go back to the clip. What did he say? Give me just the first one.
First is a direct answer to the question of this panel. Can Europe defend itself? My answer is unequivocally yes.
Without the Americans?
Without the Americans, I mean...
How?
Well, look...
But you're relying on them.
Put a pause right there. As a direct answer to your question, can Europe defend itself? Yes. Without the Americans. Without the Americans. I mean, and he goes on, and she's trying to prod because this is so ridiculous. So he says that directly. Even without that second part, though, without the Americans, the question, can Europe defend itself, implies that it would do so without the Americans. That's the meaning of the word itself, on its own. alone, without other help. And then he's pressed on it. He says, well, no, I never really, hold on, wait, what? What are we told on? I do not speak English. What you say, sir? Because, of course, Europe cannot defend itself without the United States. Since World War II, the agreement, this is not some secret, conspiracy here, this is the open agreement, is that America will protect Europe. Europe essentially demilitarizes, and we protect Europe. First during the Cold War, and now just generally. By the way, we had to protect Europe before the end of the Second World War, too. That's how the World War ended. So we went in and protected Europe. By the way, that's how the First World War ended, too. So it's ridiculous. Of course, Europe cannot defend itself without America. Europe is, for all intents and purposes, a series of colonies of the United States. Europe's older. Europe gave birth to the United States. England, the UK gave birth to the United States. But now we're the big dog. That's just how it works. And Trump doesn't want anyone to forget it. Not just the Europeans, but even the snow Mexicans who live in America's evil top hat of Canada.
Yeah. Well, not all of us are.
Canada gets a lot of freebies from us, by the way. They should be grateful also, but they're not. I watched your Prime Minister yesterday. He wasn't so grateful. But they should be grateful to us. Canada lives because of the United States. Remember that, Mark, the next time you make your statements.
I love it so much. Trump here does sound a little bit tired. You got to remember, the guy essentially pulled an all-nighter. He flies over to Davos. He's, in this other country whirlwind tour, just constantly running. Certainly seems more sprightly than all the other guys at Davos. But what I love about, you hear a little touch of lethargy in the voice, and it makes him sound like Don Corleone. You should be grateful. We never ask anything to you. You come here on the day that my daughter is to be married, and you don't even have the courtesy to call me godfather. You better remember that I've been very good to you. I cannot grant your request, snow Mexicans. You tell me not to take Greenland. That I cannot do. I love this because, not just because I'm of a certain, a descendant of the Mezzogiorno in America, but because this is the reality. We're the big dogs. It's not the World Economic Forum and the United Nations and the liberal international system involves a lot of fictions, a lot of pretenses, a lot of what they might call noble lies. One of them being that every country in the world is basically just the same. We're all basically equal. But that's not true. That's not how politics really works. And that's never been true. We've never really operated that way. It's just a kind of a lie. And so Trump wants to remind people of the truth. And in a way, people, myself included, are going to, describe this as him talking kind of like a mafioso, like a little Don Corleone. But really, he's speaking like an emperor. He's speaking like the leader. I'll put it even more precisely. He's speaking like the leader of a great power, which we are. And it's good that he's speaking that way because that is reality. And this is a crucial point that a lot of utopians on the left and the right don't want to admit. Politics works better when we acknowledge reality, even if there are realities that we don't want to admit, whether we're on the left or the right, even when there are realities that offend our ideology, such as the disparity in power between different nations, such as great nations pursuing their interests. The left especially doesn't like that. Or whether it's the reality that you can't have too much inequality in a democratic nation such as ours. The reality, I'll go even further, that the palace is never safe when the cottage is unhappy. That's a political reality that offends especially libertarians and ideological free marketeers on the right. But you got to deal with reality. Otherwise, you're going to have problems. You have revolutions, you're going to have revolts, you're not going to flourish. So, what's that all lead us to? Back to the Greenland point. Trump goes in, they say, you're never getting Greenland, you're never getting what you want, this is outrageous, it's going to dissolve NATO, it's going to destroy the world. What does Trump announce less than 24 hours after being in Davos? We have a framework to get Greenland.
The USA gets everything we wanted, including promoting especially real national security and international security.
How so? Can you give us some details, please?
Well, the deal is going to be put out pretty soon. I mean, we'll see. It's right now a little bit in progress, but pretty far along. It gets us everything we needed to get.
Will the U.S. still get Greenland? Will the U.S. still get Greenland, sir?
Say that convinced you.
Say it?
What did Mark Rutte say?
Well, he's a great leader. I think he's fantastic. The Secretary General was representing the other side, which is really us too, because, you know, we're a very important member of NATO. I've done a lot for NATO. And it's really nice. I mean, it's a deal that everybody's very happy with.
Does it
Sir, how
does it still include the United States having ownership of Greenland like you said you wanted?
It's a long-term deal. It's the ultimate long-term deal. I think it puts everybody in a really good position.
How long will the deal be, Mr. President?
Infinite.
Okay, wow, there's a lot here. There's a lot here. And Trump, this is what I love about Trump's rhetoric, is you get all the bombast, all the stuff that gets the views, all the stuff that gets the clicks, but then keep listening. There is a lot of sophistication going on here. They say, are you going to get NATO? Or are you going to get Greenland? He says, yeah. Yeah, we are. We're getting everything we need. In other words, do we really want Greenland to become the 51st state? No. Are we really going to have, I've joked about this for days, are we going to have F-35s flying over, piloted by Don Rumsfeld, you know, dropping bombs on nuke? No, obviously not. But we need to secure Greenland. We need to secure the Arctic from our geopolitical adversaries, especially as the prospect of regional or global war increases. And we're the only power that can do it. Denmark just can't do it. So we need that control. Who is ostensibly our adversary here? I guess it's NATO. It's the Secretary General of NATO, Mark Rutte, as you heard him reference. He says he's sort of on the other side, but he's sort of on our side because we run NATO. Guys, come on, let's dispel with this fiction that NATO is just some entity outside of. It's the expansion of the American empire, is what it is. NATO was founded in order to organize the American empire against Russia, which organized its empire according to the Warsaw Pact. And we're going to work it out. Are you going to acquire NATO? Are you going to acquire Greenland? Sorry. And he says, we're going to get what we need. We're going to have it's not like we need to have it in name. We don't need the 51st state, but we need the control. And so it's going to be a long-term deal. What does this mean? We've already occupied and controlled Greenland. The last time Denmark couldn't defend it because Denmark got overrun by Hitler. And then we had to go beat Hitler to save Europe the second time, actually. So we are where we are, guys. This is the political reality. But it's going to be a long-term deal. Maybe that allows Denmark or Europe to save face. How long? And then he gets it in there at the end. Infinite. What is he? He says, guys, don't worry about the details. It's that great description of Trump, which is don't take him literally, but take him seriously. He goes, look, what do we really want here? We're going to control Greenland. We're gonna. However, we need to gussy that up and describe it to make everyone feel good about it, whatever. Just letting you know we're going to control Greenland. And now NATO comes out and says, yeah, basically that's right. So moving from Greenland, Trump then also goes further and rewrites potentially the world order by creating an organization that could replace the United Nations. The United Nations, the most prominent liberal globalist organization in the world, he announces an organization that certainly could replace it at Davos, which is the annual meeting of all the liberals and globalists. We'll get to that momentarily. First, I want to tell you about Shopify.
No. Hurry up and then give me the stupid ad. Yeah, skip the fucking ad. Sorry guys for my cussing, but I really hate these things.
It's another important subtle thing that makes clear Trump's broader political strategy. He says, look, had a great productive meeting with the Secretary General of NATO with respect to Greenland. We have this great framework set up. Further information will be made available as discussions progress. Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, and various others as needed will be responsible for the negotiations. They'll report to me. Thank you. Thank you for your attention to this matter. The key 4 words here. Vice President J.D. Vance. That's the key. Because as Trump is making these huge moves in the world, taking out Maduro in Venezuela, everyone has all the memes about Marco Rubio getting all these extra jobs. Some of the enemies of the Trump administration have come out and tried to sow discord. This administration is working extraordinarily well altogether, but they're trying to sow discord. They're saying, well, Marco is kind of the face of taking out Maduro because he's the Secretary of State. He was working on this, and even just because of presidential protocols, J.D. Vance wasn't in the room literally when it took place. Ooh, maybe Marco Rubio will be the nominee in 28. Even though Rubio's already endorsed J.D. Vance. Maybe Trump is cutting out the vice president, even though Trump has expressed his confidence in him consistently. What this is all about from the left is trying to sow division within the Trump administration. And then sometimes when you're hearing these rumblings from the right, it's just the usual malcontents who are trying to jockey for power, who don't like that MAGA beat them even 10 years ago. So what does Trump do? Just a few words in there. He goes, yeah, we're going to take Greenland. This is the next huge foreign policy move from the United States. In many ways, much more significant than Venezuela. And who am I going to put in charge of the negotiations? And he goes in, or he doesn't cut out Rubio. Why would he cut out Rubio? Rubio's amazing. But he just sets it up again. The vice president, I'm putting him in charge of the negotiations. Followed by Marco Rubio. In keeping with President Trump, what he said months ago on Air Force One, he says, I hope JD and Marco run as a ticket. I don't want them to be in opposition. I want them to work together. I hope Marco stays Secretary of State forever. JD, Marco, and Steve Witkoff, and. It's a subtle little bit, but it corrects the messaging, makes it very difficult for Trump's enemies on the left to sow that division, and even some of the malcontents on the right. Okay, so turn from Greenland to Gaza. And really zoom out from Gaza, look at the entire world order. Trump announces at Davos a new organization called the Board of Peace.
As part of this historic record of major peace initiatives, today we're announcing more details regarding the Board of Peace, so important. This board has the chance to be one of the most consequential bodies ever created, and it's my enormous honor to serve as its chairman. I was very honored when they asked me to do it. We had an idea to do it, and then
Okay, the Board of Peace. He's announcing it. He's going to be the chairman. What is the Board of Peace? This sounds like something out of a cartoon or a comic book. The Board of Peace, it's so vague. What's it really about? Trump explains in the hallway.
Talk about being concerned, Mr. President, about Russia trying to come and take over Greenland. If you're worried that Putin would do something like that, why invite him to join your Board of Peace?
Because we want everybody. We want all nations. We want all nations where people have control, people have power. That way we're never going to have a problem. This is the greatest board ever assembled. And everybody wants to be on it. But, yeah, I have some controversial people on it, but these are people that get the job done. These are people that have tremendous influence. And if I put all babies on the board, it wouldn't be very much. So he was invited. He's accepted. Many people have accepted. I don't know of anybody that hasn't accepted. But it's going to be great. I think the Board of Peace will be the most prestigious board ever, and it's going to get a lot of work done that the United Nations should have done. And we'll work with the United Nations, but the Board of Peace is going to be special. We're going to have peace. It started off with Gaza, the Middle East. We've got peace in the Middle East, tremendous peace in the Middle East. Nobody thought that was possible, and that happened by taking out the Iran nuclear threat. Without that, it could have never happened.
Ton of information here from the top. Why would Trump invite Russia?
So, the Board of Peace. Interesting. I mean, I honestly don't like the UN. I think the UN is useless. They started out with good intentions, but I think that they ended on very bad intentions, and I think that their downfall is they're gonna fade out. Know what I mean? Now, this Board of Peace. I don't know how much of peace we can have when the board itself is kind of, tit for tat. But I guess we'll see how that turns out. Other than that, y'all, some interesting things have happened. Apparently, we are now snow Mexicans. I'm not like offended in any way. Like I'm actually laughing. Snow Mexicans. uh, so if we're snow Mexicans, can we get asylum? Just wondering because, you know, Canada's not exactly livable. Can we get some asylum, please? That would be like the best. Oh, but yeah, I just wanted to do this because I had no topics to talk about for today, and I'm really, really sorry about that. I'm also taking a break from my podcast this Thursday, which is tomorrow, because currently my moon cycle is causing disruptions, so I am terribly sorry about that, but I will resume on Tuesday next week, and there will be new episodes then. Uh, I'm so sorry about that. It's just I just don't feel that great today, and I don't feel like doing a podcast segment today and then putting it up for tomorrow. I just don't feel like it, you know. I kind of feel like going back to bed if I'm being honest. But I can't. So, here I am. I'm awake. I'm up. I'm doing things. And yeah. I mean, this was a very productive vlog, if you ask me. Just so you know, I listen to this kind of stuff every single day. This is the kind of thing. I have this in a playlist which is public, so if you guys want to go and watch some of the things that I have watched, it's under Truth and Justice, and that's where all of the videos are that I've been watching and commenting on. And yeah, like I said, if you wanna like not sit idly when you have time, I would suggest signing up for the free courses on hillsdalecollege.com. It's it's amazing, and you get to learn, and you get to keep your mind doing things, not just, you know, not doing things. See what I mean? This moon cycle, man. I have like the foggiest brain right now. Usually I'm on it, you know, like got all the clever things to say, but y'all, I just I need chocolate. I need chocolate so bad. Anyway, y'all, I will be back in my vlog for tomorrow. Yes, I will be doing a vlog tomorrow. That's because it's already been done. I just have to upload it. Like this one. So, I hope y'all have a wonderful day. I hope y'all have a wonderful Wednesday. I hope y'all have a wonderful Thursday. And I'm very sorry about not being able to put out a new podcast episode tomorrow, but I will be getting it out by Tuesday, don't you worry. And we will be commenting on some more stuff that's going on X because, you know, I just got to keep that going because it's quite entertaining over there on X and there's a lot of stuff going on. So I shall share with you some more when the time comes. But for now, I just want to say have a good day. God bless you. Love you. Please like, subscribe, and share. And please comment below. And I love y'all. Later for now. God bless.
you.